Let's enter into morning satsang. Start the questions.
The first question is from Rupak, IA ID card number 64. He's asking, Dear Swamiji, you said when I want the headache to disappear, I have given more energy for it to stay in me. In that case, why have I not given more energy for spiritual experience like samadhi or kundalini energy even though I want it? Rupak, IA ID card number 64.
Rupak 64. His question, Dear Swamiji, you said when I want the headache to disappear, I have given more energy for it to stay in me. In that case, why have I not given more energy for spiritual experiences like samadhi or kundalini energy, even though I want it? Please understand, wanting it is one, believing it is possible, trusting it is possible is another one. Let me give you a small story. One guy who was trying his best to get a boon from Shiva. So every day morning he will pour water, milk, all kinds of offerings he will make to Shiva deity he had, and do the puja, sit in front of that Shiva and chant Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, and literally nag Shiva to give that boon. Literally force Shiva to give that boon. Shiva was not responding at all. So finally one day he got fed up and he became angry. The greed, when it is not fulfilled, turns as anger. When it turned out as anger, he became so angry, he decided to teach a lesson to Shiva. He brought one Vishnu Murti, Vishnu deity, and started doing all the puja to Vishnu. Just to teach Shiva, he will do everything, whatever he was doing to Shiva, to Vishnu, saying, you are a useless God, now I am worshipping real God, who will give me the boon. He was doing all the rituals. And finally he put the incense stick also. That incense smoke was slowly moving in the wind towards that Shiva deity. He could not tolerate that incense he kept for Vishnu is being smelled by Shiva. He jumped on the deity and caught hold of the nose strongly. Close the nose, nostrils. You should not smell my incense. It is only for Vishnu. How dare this incense comes to your nose? This smell comes to your nose. You are so strongly holding the nostril. Suddenly, in few seconds, he literally felt he is holding flesh and bone. Somebody's real nostril, nose. When he opened the eyes, he saw Shiva was sitting. He was really sitting. He was there. The moment he saw Shiva, he could not control. All his anger, pseudo anger, everything went away. He just fell at the feet of Shiva and asked him, please apologize me. Please forgive me. He asked for apologies. Please forgive me. Then Shiva asked, oh my son, what do you want? Tell me. He asked his boon, whatever he wanted, and Shiva gave him that boon. Suddenly this guy had a doubt. He asked Shiva, oh Lord, I was praying to you so strongly, doing so much of puja, abhishekam, sacred bath, offering, so many things I was doing. Repetition of your name, everything. Why did you not appear at that time? When I was holding your nose, you should not smell my incense. In anger, you appeared. What is this logic? I am not able to understand. Shiva beautifully says, even in your greed, you did not have a strong trust. I am in the deity. You only have to imagine Shiva is there, I am doing, he may accept one corner of your mind. Who knows Shiva is sitting in this? One corner of your mind was always commenting on your action. There was never 100% doubtless trust. But in your anger, you did not have 1 inch of doubt, I am there in the deity. When you held your nostril, when you held my nose strongly, even 1 second you did not have doubt. Your unconscious mind was not commenting, giving the cricket commentary behind. Who knows? Shiva is in this deity. Who knows? He is accepting all your milk. It is all going down the drain. And you are wasting your money, time, energy. You did not have any of the doubts when you are holding my nose. You know Shiva is there and you have to take revenge. Whether in anger or whatever, whether right or wrong, those few moments, without even having doubt in unconsciousness, you know I was there in the deity. I am there in the deity. That strong, doubtless, authentic trust is the key. That is the bridge. That only makes me appear. When you have that trust, I have no other way, I have to appear. Understand? Maybe you wanted your Kundalini energy to be awakened, Samadhi to happen, but behind your mind, your unconscious is constantly giving commentary. Why do you want all this? You think you will get it? People who have done tapas for millions of years did not get it. You think this Swami can just like that give you in 10 days? Behind that cricket commentary is going on. Wicked commentary is going on. But with a headache, you are very clear. There is no doubt. You will have it. You will ever have it. It will never leave you. Unfortunately, your mind is programmed, designed to believe negative things strongly. Then positive things. It's like a water flowing down. Your mind always flows towards negative things. Your headache is like an authentic trust. Your samadhi or kundalini awakening. It is there. It is not there. It is there. It is not there. It is there. It is not there. That's all. It is there. It is not there. It is there, it is not there. It is not there, no, it is there. It is not there, no, it is there. It is not there, it is there. That is the difference. Rupak, contemplate on this story. Why Shiva appeared when he was holding the nose in anger, and why he did not appear when he was doing the puja with all devotion. Contemplate on it. You will understand. Authentic trust is the essence. Next question.
The next question is from Preet, IA ID card number 28. She is asking, Swamiji, is being in silence an effective way to go within? Thank you for your love and blessings. Preet, IA ID card number 28.
Swamiji, is being in silence an effective way to go within? Thank you for your love and blessings. Number 28. Who? Is being silence an effective way to go within? I don't know what silence you are asking. Verbal silence may be initial step, but mental silence is the best step. Emotional silence is the ultimate step. Conscious silence is goal itself. Understand, if you are talking just about verbal silence, it's the first step. Very beautifully our scriptures say, Yogasya pradamam dwaram vangnirotaha. First step in yoga is verbal silence. Yogasya pradamam dwaram vaknirotaha. So verbal silence is only the first step for yoga. Mental silence will be a powerful practice of yoga. Emotional silence is the last step for yoga. Conscious silence is the goal of yoga. So, which silence you are talking about, you should know. Step by step, increase the depth of the silence. That's all. If you are in the verbal silence, move to mental silence also. If you are in mental silence, move to emotional silence also. If you are in emotional silence, move to conscious silence also. So understand, it is which level of silence you are talking, that plays major role. Next question.
The next question is from Maggie Point, IA ID card number 94, who's asking, what is the reason we do puja at the Guru's feet? Why do people want to touch the Guru's feet?
Maggie Point. May I know who it is? Yes. What is the reason we do puja at the Guru's feet? Why do people want to touch the Guru's feet? It's an ancient tradition. In the Vedic tradition, when you are showered so much by Guru with his knowledge, experience, love, blessings, everything, when you are showered by him, overflowing gratitude, you don't know what to do. So you offer whatever you have at his feet. That is the way the tradition of Guru Puja started. The Vedic tradition. This is the oldest ritual. Please understand. Oldest sacred ritual is Guru Puja. The moment the first disciple was excited, Parvati, Adi Shakti is the first disciple. The moment she was excited with the experience of Shiva, experience given by Mahadeva, Shiva, in that extraordinary gratitude, she fell at Mahadeva's feet and offered whatever she had at his feet. So the first ritual, Guru Puja, started. The first initiation is Shiva Sutra. The first sacred ritual is Guru Puja. First stotra is Guru Gita. The overflowing gratitude, you pour yourself at the feet of the Master. And same way, touching Guru's feet, touching Guru's feet also, in the ecstasy, you always feel like offering yourself at his feet. There is no logical reason for why Guru Puja is done, why people touch Guru's feet. It is emotional feeling connection. For some people, it looks like, why should I do it? For some people, it is life. They can't live without it. I know, for millions of my disciples, morning satsang is much more important than eating food. This is bliss dose. Morning sitting in the Pada Puja or the morning satsang is a powerful bliss dose. Life. It is life itself. So please understand, it is the individual's emotion. I also wanted to tell you one more thing. Do all this only if you feel intensely connected to it, not otherwise. It should not be done as a ritual. See, as far as yoga is concerned, whether you want it or not, it has to be done. Because you are working on body. But when the Guru Puja comes, it is in your mind. Your mind itself should feel it. Out of ecstasy and joy, you should be pouring it. So there is no logical reason. What is the reason we do pujas at Guru's feet? Why do people want to touch the Guru's feet? There is no logical reason. Just that is the way it is. That's all. That is the way it is. Next question.
The next question is from Rajiv Ramnath, IA ID card number 57. He's asking, my dear Swamiji, is the will a part of the mind or the being? How is it connected to the mind, if at all?
My dear Swamiji, is the will a part of the mind or the being? How is it connected to the mind, if at all? Rajiv Ramnath? Yes, please be seated. It's a very important question, very subtle question. Understand the answer. I am finishing it in 2 lines. Will is neither part of mind nor part of being. It is a bridge hanging. How is it connected to the mind? Just like a grass floating on the ocean. How is the grass or the straw floating on the ocean? How is the straw floating on the ocean connected to ocean? It is just floating. There is no controlling mechanism. By pulling the straw, you cannot pull the ocean. By moving the straw, you cannot move the ocean. There is no logical way even to move an ocean and move the straw. You can't even control the straw by making some movements in the ocean. Your will it is floating on your mind. Neither you can use your will and control the mind, nor you can use your mind and control the will. That is the most complicated relationship. Very complicated relationship. Then how to use the will to control the mind? You can only increase the frequency of your being. which reduces the strength of the mind. That is the only possible. Nothing else is possible. Understand? If more part of the planet Earth becomes land, then less part becomes ocean. The ocean's influence reduces. See, ocean is like a mind. Being is like a land. Will is like a straw floating on the ocean. Maybe I can say bank of the ocean, touching the land and the ocean. It is there. But one thing you need to know, just like how under the ocean water, it is only land. Same way, under your mind, it is only being. Understand that truth. This is a perfect example. Your being is the land of the planet Earth. Water, ocean is the mind. Will is the straw, small piece of grass lying where the ocean meets the land. With this example, you can find answer to all your questions. Next.
The next question is from Murli Krishna, IA ID card number 54. He's asking, Pranam Swamiji, thanks for being in my life. Swamiji, what is the best thing I can do to older people like my parents? I don't want them to die without knowing the truth. Cosmos, that's you. I don't want them to take again an unconscious body. Please help me so that at least they don't suffer next Janma. Nityanandam, Murali Krishna, IA ID card number 54.
Murali Krishna. His question, Pranam Swamiji, thanks for being in my life. Swamiji, what is the best thing I can do to older people like my parents? I don't want them to die without knowing the truth. Cosmos, that is you. I don't want them to take again an unconscious body. Please help me so that at least they don't suffer next Janma. Murali Krishna, it is so unfortunate. In those days, the parents and elders used to push their kids towards gurus and spirituality enlightenment. I have made enlightenment and spirituality as a trend. Now, youngsters are feeling connected. They are pushing the elders to come. Whether I can be proud and feeling happy about it that I made the whole thing useful for the youngsters, or I have to feel bad that Kali is so bad, time is so bad, even old people don't get connected and youngsters have to force. It's a very weird situation. He is asking, what is the best thing I can do to older people like my parents? If you ask about your child, I will tell, come on, bring it into engineers. But when you are asking about your older parents, the only way is approach them with the tremendous feeling, how can I contribute and make difference in their life? Take time to explain to them. During death, no one else can be with them, support them other than Guru. It is not story. Thousands of my disciples who left the body, I have felt the presence intensely. Very beautifully, peacefully left the body. There are enough of instances and evidences, stories, experiences. Tell them about it. For graceful exit, inner awakening is compulsory. make them understand, inspire them, convince them. That is the only way. No other solution other than inspiring, convincing, and making them experience. Next question.
The next question is from Shiv Bhaskaram. IA ID card number 5 is asking, Pranam Swamiji, the other day in satsang you mentioned that we should expand, experience and explode in every possibility but not get attached to the object or measure achievement. My question is, how would you care about anything if you don't have any small attachment to it? Can you kindly tell me how, Swamiji? Pranam, Shiva Bhaskaran, IA ID card number 5.
Shiva Bhaskaran. Swamiji, you mentioned that we should expand, experience and explode in every possibility, but not get attached to the object or measure achievement. My question is, how would you care about anything if you don't have any small attachment to it? Shiva Bhaskaran, I don't mind small attachment. I don't mind you having small attachment. But in the name of small attachment, you are not going to move out of it. What to do? That is where the problem starts. Small attachment will not even be an attachment. But the moment I grant small attachment is okay, what are you going to do now? You are going to justify your attachment as a small attachment. No. Small attachment will not even be known to you. It will be there and it will not even be known to you. Anything known to you, disconnect it, unclutch from it. The small attachment which can be there will be there without your knowledge. Understand? That's it. So, I am not going to bend for your small attachment. No. Not even small attachment is allowed knowingly. So, you go on unclutching whatever is there knowingly. Then unknowingly, whatever need to be there, it will be there or it will not be there. You don't worry about it. Next question.
The next question is from the Divya, IA ID card number 85, who's asking, Swamiji, would you please say something about our duties to our parents, teachers, priests and a master according to the Vedic culture? This kind of knowledge is almost lost in the West. Especially, I'd like to know about disciples' duty to the master, again according to the Vedic culture. Thank you again. Divya, IA ID card number 85.
It's a long question. An answer needs to be given very elaborately. I'll give answer for this tomorrow, because I'll not be able to complete giving answer to this question in next few minutes. We have only next few minutes. And today is again a long day, initiation. Today all the IA participants are going to be officially initiated into unclutching and Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So, first time you guys, see, first time world knows a technology of getting into Nirvikalpa Samadhi which is neurologically verified. Please understand, the system, the technology of Nirvikalpa Samadhi which I am sharing with you all, which you are all experiencing, can be neurologically verified. I can put a QEEG on your brain. Brain will show exactly what Patanjali says as Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Patanjali says as Nirvikalpa Samadhi, highest awareness and deep rest. You will see, today we will show you, we will demonstrate. When you are in that Nirvikalpa Samadhi, when that Kundalini is awakened, when you are in unclutching mood and the Kundalini is awakened, clearly brain shows the highest awareness. What is the theta? Today they will explain to you. Technically, highest awareness is shown in your brain and no activity, equivalent to coma. Complete silence and highest awareness. Usually when there is awareness, there will be a lot of restless activity. Here there is no activity, but highest awareness. Jakrat Sushupti, what Patanjali calls as Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Please understand, first time the most authentic technology of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, best analyzed through the neurological scientific studies, is available to the world openly, publicly, without any restrictions. My contribution of unclutching to the world, even I am happy about it. It's like if a daughter gets married in a very cultured, decent, highly evolved, wealthy, happy people, in the happy family, how a father will feel. Wow, now she's in a safe, happy place. How he feels happy for her. That's exactly the feeling I have when I initiate every person in unclutching. Now I know he is going to be in a happy, highest possible conscious plane. I feel happy for you guys, for your initiation. I always feel how exactly initiation and the first Guru Puja would have happened. That is why still that place where the first initiation and the first Guru Puja has happened vibrates that energy. I tell you, even now you can touch in the air and feel when Mahadeva gave the initiation first and Devi did the first Guru Puja, that whole action still is alive in Kailash. Anybody enters there, receives the initiation.
Paramahamsa Nityananda, a rare living incarnation, is named among the world's 100 most spiritually influential personalities today. Paramahamsa Nityananda has been placed alongside Dalai Lama, Nelson Mandela, Oprah Winfrey, Paulo Coelho and others by Mind, Body, Spirit, the world's top esoteric magazine from Watkins, London's oldest and largest bookstore. A yogi by birth, he has been expressing his power of enlightenment since birth. He has authored more than 500 books in Tamil and English. Translations of these books are available in 26 languages in Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Hindi, Sanskrit, Gujarati, Oriya, Bengali, Marathi, French, Malay, Polish, Portuguese, Italian, German, Danish, Spanish, Russian and Chinese. He is also an exemplary speaker with over 10,000 hours of profound life solutions through his discourses. Social services such as Annadan, free medical care, free educational services with ashrams, schools, temples, hospitals established in more than 140 places around the world, offering exceptional services. A powerful spiritual healer who has healed millions of people of diseases from migraine to cancer. A Kriya Yogi who has formulated Kriyas for physical health and mental well-being, benefiting thousands. A living master who offers practical solutions for our everyday problems. He is the founder and spiritual head of Nityananda Dhyanapitham, a spiritual powerhouse who has revived the sacred Vedic tradition by establishing Vedic temples in places like Los Angeles, San Jose, Seattle, Toronto, Ohio, Oklahoma, Phoenix, St. Louis, Malaysia, Brazil, Paris, Guadeloupe, Dallas, New York, New Jersey, Atlanta, Calgary, Vancouver, Singapore, and places in India like Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Tiruvannamalai. A spiritual guru for 10 million followers, an incarnation who transmits the highest spiritual energy through initiation, a contemporary yogi who has revived the Vedic science of yoga worldwide through thousands of yoga centers, an adept in Ashtamahasiddhis, mystical yogic powers, who has effortlessly awakened the Kundalini of thousands and graced them with spiritual powers, a dynamic young guru who is an inspiration for thousands of youngsters, India's most watched spiritual guru online, a beacon of spiritual light who has triumphed over the forces of religious terrorism and political persecution. Paramahamsa Nityananda is an eternal Kalpataru, blessing the world with the boons of material abundance and spiritual enlightenment.
आनन्दानुभवास्वादं सर्वरोगनिवारकं वन्दे पापविनाशक्तं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतं नित्यमुक्तं निर्विकल्पं ध्यानलोकप्रदीपकं वन्दे शान्तमयं बन्धं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतम् आनन्दगन्धसञ्चारं सर्वोपाधिविनिर्मुक्तं वन्दे ज्ञानालयं नाथं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतम्.
Let you all achieve, experience, live, express, radiate, share and explode in eternal bliss. Nityananda.
Nityananda Dhyanapitham, Nityananda Nagar off Mysore Road, Bidadi, Bangalore 562109. Contact 097422033111. www.nityananda.org. www.youtube.com/Life Bliss Foundation.